When a 56-year-old woman was arrested for the crime of murdering her concubine wife, no one would have imagined that she was a serial killer who had killed her concubine husbands during a 9-year crime spree. Although the 56-year-old woman has confessed to murdering 7 men, investigations show that she had 13 concubine husbands in these years, all of whom died, and for this reason, the number of her victims is likely to be more than 7. The serial killer of Mazandaran, whose name is Kulthum, was arrested last week by the police of Mahmudabad city for the crime of murdering her husband. Her husband was an 82-year-old man who was initially thought to have died of a stroke, but his relatives said he was murdered. One of the victim's relatives told the officers, "My father was old and lived alone in order for him to have a companion. We were looking for a woman who would meet his conditions and marry him. After searching for a while, we met a 56-year-old woman named Kulthum through an acquaintance. She said that her husband died a long time ago and lives alone. And when we told my father's condition, she agreed to marry our father temporarily." 56-year-old Kulthum went to the house of an 82-year-old man with a dowry of 500 million tumans as a concubine, and the couple's life together began. But only a few months were enough for the 82-year-old man to realize that Kulthum was trying to kill him. A few days before his death, this man had told his children that Kulthum forcefully gave him heart pills and pressure pills, and every time he passed out after drinking the drinks he made. The 82-year-old man died just a few days after saying these words to his children, and following his death, his children went to the police station and filed a complaint against their father's concubine for murder. With this complaint, a case was filed in the prosecutor's office, and a team of agents investigated the death of the 82-year-old man. And after obtaining clues that strengthened the suspicion of Kulthum's involvement in the crime, this woman was arrested. The 56-year-old woman was arrested last week and was interrogated. Seeing that his hand was turned to the police, in addition to the murder of the 82-year-old man, he also confessed to the murder of 6 other people. 6 people, all of whom were men over 75 years of age, whom the criminal woman first married temporarily, and after about 23 months of living together, she killed her victims by eating pills or dissolving them in drinks. The confessions of the criminal woman showed that she was born in a completely ordinary family in one of the villages of Sarai city. She married her first husband at the age of 11, and the result of this marriage was a son, a boy who died years later due to illness. After the death of her first husband, Kulthum married another man, a marriage that was the result of a girl who is now married, and is shocked that her mother confessed to killing at least 7 people. After the death of her second husband, the serial killer married several times permanently so that in his birth certificate, permanent marriage with 5 people is registered. And now the research is going on to find these people and determine their fate. As the criminal woman admitted, she started her murders about 9 years ago. He chose his prey among lonely but rich elderly men. Kulthum used to appear in women's gatherings and talk about his life, and that he wants to marry an elderly man who lives alone. In this way, people who were looking for a partner for their elderly but lonely father would get to know him. And when Kulthum was sure that the subject in question had a lot of wealth, she would marry him on the condition of receiving a dowry. The dowry that the criminal woman demanded was usually a huge amount of cash or property. And in this way, she was able to marry the subject of her choice. But in less than 3 months, with her tricks, she killed her concubine husband by drugging him or strangling him, and then her dowry, implemented according to the police investigation. He was able to own several luxurious villas in Mazandaran province. With this trick, which are worth billions of tumans. As the police investigation shows, Kulthum committed his murders in different cities of Mazandaran, from Sarai and Kaimshar to Nika and Babel. After the first murder he committed, he was suspected by the victim's family to the point where they sued him for murder. and the body of the victim was taken to forensic medicine for expert examination. But finally, with the follow-up of Kulthum's daughter and son-in-law, the victim's family dismissed their complaint, and he was able to continue his crimes. Also, in another murder, when the victim's family suspected this woman, they filed a complaint against her, and the body was taken to the forensic examination, but in expert investigations, the main cause of the murder was not determined, and it was announced that the elderly man died of a heart attack. Mazandaran's serial killer has confessed to murdering 7 of his concubine husbands, while investigations show that he was married to 5 people permanently and 13 people temporarily. This is despite the fact that all 13 men who were married to her before have lost their lives. For this reason, it is possible that the accused is involved in the murder of more people, and the number of his victims will increase from 7. According to Sardar Hassan Mofakmi Shahrashtani, police chief of Mazandaran, the accused confessed that by adding anesthetics to the drinks of his wives, he made them unconscious and then killed them. And current, the investigation is ongoing to identify other possible crimes of this woman.